Okay, here's another one. Your logo should be built for the people you sell to, not for you. Do you agree or disagree? There was an example of a roofing logo that was like an angry muscle mascot, and I guess it scared customers. So they had to redesign the logo, and that logo brought their company up $2.4 million in revenue. So the idea that your logo could, is that a hot take? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Oh, that's just good branding versus bad branding. That's what that sounds like to me, the question.
Elaborate.
If your brand sucks and somebody's telling you it sucks, fix it.
What if you got a bunch of yes men telling you that your logo is great, everybody loves it? He had to ask somebody before he spent the money on printing.
Well, there you go. That's your problem. And if he's one of my competitors, then have it keep going. I'm joking. I'm kidding.
Change nothing, yeah.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to the old owner of our company, and it used to be a different brand, and he and I had a falling out, and then we've reconnected, and things are kind of cool. And my partner, we took over the brand 2 years ago, and immediately it was absolutely no question we're rebranding. I feel like for 7.5 years, I sold roofs under this brand in spite of the brand, not because of the brand. It's just a bad brand. It was a hard name to say. It didn't really have a logo. And so I've got a chance to work with a lot of different smart people in the industry, and I've seen a lot, and I've seen a lot of good brands and bad brands, and had a chance to talk to him about this. And he said, "Man, I know." He's like, "We should have changed the brand." He's like, "I never could crack the code on branding and the inbound leads and all that because he spent too much money with somebody who told him that was a good brand, and I could line up 100 customers. I'm not kidding. It was that bad. Line up 100 customers, and 99 of them would butcher the name after we did their roof. They wouldn't be able to say it. They wouldn't get it the first try." That's somebody who was married to his logo, to try to speak to your hot take, who was not willing to accept the reality that maybe we should change this. Maybe we should pivot to something that's easier to say and is more memorable.
Yeah, that your logo could be a deterrent.
I think it has to go back to, you got to figure out who your ideal customer is and then build everything around them. Cause it's probably a 42-year-old female who has, 2.3 kids and a dog and drives a Tesla or something like that.
How do you put that in the logo?
Exactly. So you gotta figure out what attracts that ideal customer avatar to what you're trying to do. If you have a big giant like WWF looking character like ready to come and stomp on the house, it's like that's not what we want. The other thing I've had trouble understanding is like you want the customer to feel like they made the right choice in choosing you. And I've seen companies that are like the company is the hero and the customer is the customer. So I've always been a little conflicted with that, where it's like, don't you want the customer to feel like the hero because they picked you? You want them to feel like they're the smartest person for picking you because, you're solving all their problems and doing all that for them. So, but yeah, I think you got to start with the ideal customer avatar. Who is that? What do they like? What do they do? And how do you fit into that buying ecosphere that they see on Instagram or wherever they find their help?
All you guys have been roofing company owners, I think, way longer than I have. Any of you dramatically morphed your brand since you first started doing this?
Oh, man. So we started as T-Bay Construction. We were doing everything, and I didn't know anything. I was in the oil business before that, doing this kind of work on the side forever. I say rebranded, it wasn't much. We went to T-Bay Roofing just to try to target exteriors, roofing, siding, windows. When we decided we were going to start going to other markets, like now we have technically 4 offices, but they're very spread out. It was T-Bay Roofing. Well, you think T-Bay's easy to pronounce. Well, nobody else does. So in Virginia, they say TB, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard, but they did.
Hey, bag.
Yeah. So it's weird. Here we used to do tons of radio and different like audio type stuff. Well, they wouldn't recognize it like in Google versus what they're hearing, right? We rebranded to Rain Stoppers. That is a point I would make. I mean, we were the typical blue like house thing logo. It was actually built into the name. It was TEB, and then the A was like this little house. It kind of looked cool, but it looked like everyone else's more or less. You know what I mean? Just a little different. One problem though that people really don't take into consideration when rebranding. Actually, I was chatting with Dima about this on Facebook the other day. The cost is expensive, so we budgeted it out, and we were doing like $6 million as T-Bay Roofing. in revenue. So like we weren't small, you know, we had quite a bit of stuff going on, multiple trucks and different things. So when we budgeted it out, you know, we were going to rewrap everything. The sign on the building was going to have to be new. I mean, everything we owned was trash and we were going to restart. And then even your ad campaigns, we had to go pump a blast of ads to get this new brand in front of people because nobody knew what the heck it was. So we budgeted $100 grand and we spent every penny of it. The real issue isn't that. The real issue is the lost opportunity cost. And that's where people really miss the mark when they rebrand, and why, like, if I was to do it again, it would probably still be T-Bay Roofing, and I would just change it to T-BAY, even though that's not how you spell my name, but it would be, the sound would be the same. The spelling would alter just a fuzz. Yes, we'd still have that $100,000 cost to change things, but we wouldn't have lost all of that market share that we had because we lost a ton of it. So we did the math on it with some people, and it was about a $500,000 lost opportunity cost is what we ended up calculating. You got to take that in consideration too, because you know, all these people just thought we went out of business or we sold to some corporation, and nobody wanted to deal with us locally. Nobody wanted to buy. Last year, toward the end of the year, we finally started really seeing our local market pick back up. But the first year and a half, I mean, we were dead in Marietta, Ohio, which is where we always crushed. Keep that in mind. If you're rebranding, like, you know, you can rebrand and not change the whole thing, right? Like, you can just change a little bit of it or add a mascot or change the company colors just to make it more attractive, more appealing, more customer friendly. Like, there's a few things you can do to do that without having that large, you know, missed opportunity cost.
You know, it's interesting, T-Bay. Another one of my hot takes here was the second worst thing you can name your business is your last name. Worst is initials. Second worst is your last name. You'll overspend on marketing forever to overcome it.
So I would somewhat disagree with that. The reason I did that originally, again, I knew nothing, right? Still don't know a lot, but back then I knew zero.
Please.
So I thought the best way to build trust is to put your name on it. I still believe that's probably the right way to go. It's just what's your end game goal? My end game goal was more than just Marietta, Ohio, and the name has no value in other cities. Like, honestly, there's nobody named T-Bay that I know of. There's one family out in like Wyoming, and then my family. That's it. Like, there's not many of us. So it doesn't have no value anywhere else. But I do feel like that's the reason we had such a hot start, was because our name was on it. We were willing to put our name on our work. It was on the truck. It was on the shirt. You knew who you were talking to. I had a decent reputation in the area. I mean, I was not the greatest kid, but people got along with me. You know what I mean? So it's like, it wasn't a hard deal, but it's that point of growth. But you got like Cox Roofing up there in Minnesota or whatever, who's, you know, crushing it, and that's his last name, and it works for him. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's really accurate. I think it's just what's your goal? If your goal is to stay in your home market forever, I don't have a problem with it. If you plan on staying owner operator forever, I don't have a problem with it. My goal is not to be an owner operator. My goal is to completely back out of the picture. I'm about 80% out of it now. But if your name's on the side of the truck, they kind of expect you to have some involvement. So it's just, what's your goal?
That makes sense. Ian asked, he said, Scott, love the insight on your brand changes. Did you keep the logo the same or did you change it up?
It's nothing even close. Like, not even close. I mean, it couldn't be more opposite at this point. We've got a mascot. The colors are different. The name's different. Yeah, it is not close at all.
Well, there you have it, Ian.